It felt like a rave. And I'm just like, yeah.
This is a glass.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's mental. I've never heard.
My cousin's dog Leo got kicked out of a dog walking group.
Okay, I've got this real juicy thing that's going to damage him massively. Let's go hard with this.
But what if you are the gay Art and Matilda? Like, you know?
One of the best things you just said then is the funniest sentence someone could say.
The mountain to conquer is just mental. You know, it's just inside you.
Jono's story might be one of the most craziest stories I've ever heard of running this podcast for the last few years. He went from being on a reality TV show. He then lost his job, lost his apartment over COVID. He then developed autoimmune diseases and then started a dog walking company. He found his true love and together they've built an empire. And today's episode is one of resilience and persistence. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. All right, mate. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. Great to have you here. Why don't you quickly give an intro and then we'll get started.
Sweet. I'm Jono, Trenberth online, and I'm a business owner, actor, dog trainer, content creator, washed up reality TV star. Twice, twofold. Yeah.
I love that. And that's because that's where I want to start, because there's so much I want to get into about your story and where you're going. But like, I'm always fascinated by people who make the decision to jump on reality TV shows in the first place. Not saying that I think it's bad or anything, but like, what was the decision? Like, how did that come about to do that in the first place?
Well, first off, it is bad. Yeah. it's not something I'd recommend. Yeah. And I've sort of publicly have said to people, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'll reinforce that. Yeah, for sure. So how did I, or why did I?
Yeah, why? Like, what were the factors that made you make that decision to go in the first place?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I think a lot of people, like, I get a lot of judgment for making that decision.
Yeah.
And so I'll just be really honest about it. I'll be really, like, I'll be very vulnerable about why I was in that place. So the last thing I did was maths. Yeah. And that was purely because I was sad and I was lonely, and everyone around me, like, you know, my sister's having babies, getting married, my best friends all pairing off. And I think as a single gay person in Auckland, I was, and I didn't have anything. I didn't, you know, I was very lost. I was a lost soul, and I felt like I had all this potential and all this energy. And so when someone came to me and said, how about this? You know, let's mix things up a bit for you, or like, you know, you should definitely apply and you would definitely be on the show. Yeah. Because I had a friend at MediaWorks who was kind of, like, you should do this. You'd get it. Yeah. So, so I applied, and I just thought, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. You get some attention. Yeah. That'll make you feel good. Yeah. You know, it'll be the thing that you're doing. It's, you know, it'll help your identity a little bit, and the best case scenario, which is which I think is a sort of positive, leaning person. Yeah. I kept thinking about how great it could work out, So what if I do meet someone who's amazing, and what if we do start an empire together, and, you know, what if you are the gay Art and Matilda, like, you know, like what, you know, and so you start planning that, and it did not work out like that. Spoiler. It was pretty much the opposite. So. Okay.
And so it was kind of just like opportunity was presented, you took it, fuck it, let's give it a shot.
Yeah. It was really the first reality TV show thing I did was The Amazing Race. And that was the opposite. That was a childhood dream. My sister and I were just mega fans of the show. Yeah. And there was a call out that we heard about, apply for The Amazing Race. The first time New Zealand can apply for The Amazing Race. So we did. And at the time I was working at Whiteback TV. Okay. So for Jason Gunn and the What Now and that sort of thing. And so I had this sort of like background intel on how auditions work, because we would audition kids for things. Got it. And I just knew what they would be looking for. So our video was very good at giving them what they wanted to see. So I think it was 7 in Melbourne who picked us up, and then we just fast tracked right to the end as the earthquake survivors brother and sister combo.
Got it.
Who swore too much. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Got the whole story.
We had a whole vibe.
I love that. Yeah. I love it. So was the experience with that one different to, like, as in, when you say it's bad,
yeah,
does that extend to Amazing Race as well?
Yeah, I think the problem ultimately with reality TV is you're signing a contract and you're signing your soul away.
Yeah.
Like, you're giving up a lot of rights.
Wow.
In terms of how you've experienced something in some way. Maybe it was an argument or a disagreement or a challenge or something.
Yeah.
You've experienced that way, but then they can edit that however they want their story to go. So in both cases, and I think in all cases, you'll always have like a story producer, who's someone who follows you around, and they're creating a story that with an arc, with a villain, with with challenges and hurdles, and they want either a good outcome or something satisfying at the end. So reality is out the window. Reality is not really reality. It's very much a manipulated view.
Yeah.
And you have to experience that twice. So if you're going through something quite challenging, potentially traumatic, and then you watch the public experience that through a whole different lens, that's quite jarring as well. And I think that's why you get a lot of people saying they're just blaming it on the edit. You've said those words. And it's like, yeah, you absolutely say that. And I will say in my case, like, it wasn't like, it's very uncomfortable, I think, for anyone to sort of have a mirror thrown up in front of them.
For sure.
Because that's not normal for a human to experience day to day.
No, of course not.
If you ever see yourself just on your own iPhone, you're like, do I sound like that? What the fuck? So there's that part of it that's quite uncomfortable. And you do have to sort of be like, well, that is actually who you are.
Yeah.
And I think in my case, it was a pretty good reflection of me in both cases.
Yeah.
But it's not you at your best.
Yeah.
It's always like a montage of you at your worst. And that is really uncomfortable.
Hard part.
Yeah, that's hard and tricky for people.
It is interesting, right? And the reason I want to start on that question is because that sounds no different necessarily to building a great brand online. Like, you're taking parts of your life or parts of your personality. The upside of it, when you're controlling it, you have the control of which parts you show, and you can make it the highlights at least, or you can just like pick and choose what challenges you want to show to the world, because some you want to keep private, obviously, and some you don't. But I do find that interesting because it's like an accelerated creator influencer profile building.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it happens within an 8-10 week show period, but like, you have no control.
Yeah.
You get it all taken off you.
Yeah.
When you came out of that period, so like, when you came out of that with the brand that was like the attention that you're getting, what did you do? Like, did you try to capture that, or did you try to move away?
The first thing I did was have a mental breakdown.
Yeah, so, I've heard. Yeah,
oh, really?
Well, no, I'm joking.
Oh no, you probably have publicly. Yeah,
no, but I've heard that you struggled from a mental health perspective with some of the things that happened to not necessarily mental breakdown.
No, it was a little minty bee, but and by little I mean humongous.
Yeah.
So that's in all seriousness, it was.
I want to know.
It actually was the catalyst for a lot of change for me. I did have a real mental health crisis following that. But it was a lot of things compounded around that time. So maths was end of 2019. What else came end of 2019 was the pandemic. And then there's a lot of challenges from that too. I lost my job, I think, I suspect partly because I was on the show as well. Really? Which was another big blow when I couldn't really sort of take another kick, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we're laughing about it, but yeah, that was the first thing I did was like, oh shit, this is a lot to handle.
Yeah.
And I think that's really common.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've heard about like the amount of people who have had sort of, I mean, the New Zealand scale is, we're not even on the fucking radar.
Yeah.
But when you start talking like Love Island scale, there's a lot of suicides.
Oh, really?
Genuinely, like deaths and suicides, including hosts of that show who really struggle with the attention that they're getting afterwards, because I think that this is the dark side that is going to start sort of coming out, because it's not normal for anyone to be so exposed and unsafe for in our case it was 6 weeks plus, and then you go into the public and you still feel unsafe. You are being defensive the whole time because it's structured like that. It's always a he said, she said, or he said in my situation. Who's telling the truth here? And so it's not normal to well, especially for me, I was a very sort of trusting, open person. Became highly defensive, which turned into anxiety. It keeps coming back to like, but you wanted this, you chose this, you signed that off. And I'm like, I just think 20 years from now, we're going to look back at this sort of being like the dark times of reality TV where no one's prepared. There's not a soul on this earth that is prepared for that sort of scrutiny and it goes to the point where they've hired people and they're always, and I've heard this from the horse's mouths, like producers and stuff saying, we hire people who look like mums, who are mums, and they're there to collect information, to wind that back and then spit that out so that this, a story's better. So, and they get pitched to you, they're the people that you should open up to. They're going to keep your secrets. You should tell them everything. And so you do, and then somehow that comes out and stings you. So now even the people who are meant to be there for your mental health aren't, there.
Imagine what those boardroom meetings are. Like, I think about like some of the content we make, and like the discussions we have are not that, but they had to sit in a meeting and be like, okay, I've got this real juicy thing that's going to damage him massively. Let's go hard with this.
And they all go,
like, that's crazy.
They all go, they get real horny about it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting for me to start with, because again, I would never do it, even in the past. Like,
it's because you have good self-esteem, though. It oozes out of you. And,
it's not just that. I just think it's one thing I've like really like with this business as well, and the way we've like built this business and all things and our brand, is that like I can't give people control, because like I am pretty fucked up and crazy in the shit and the decisions I make. Like, if anyone, like, no one would let me do the things that I do. Like, let's say investors, for instance, like even that is the same world for me. Like, if I let investors into the business, I couldn't. Like, they would want too much control. They'd try to shape me and make me be a certain way. And on reality TV, like, I'd probably get arrested. Like, I'd do something dumb.
That's happened too.
Yeah, exactly. I have cameras all on me. And so I couldn't do it for that reason. But I've always really interested, like, I don't think people shouldn't do it, but I think the right type of person needs to do it. And so I'm always interested in like the mindset of people who do it. And then, so I kind of want to like almost leave that in the past now, because that's happened 5 years ago, whatever it is, 6 years now. I kind of want to know like the next 5 years, or the since then 5 years, whatever it's been, like, you obviously went through some tough times through that period, which I don't want to neglect or like look over, because I know it's been a big part of your journey, and you're a big advocate for it as well. But like, how did that transition happen to now? Like, because like now you're not in the public eye that way, right? You're in the public eye as a creator and influence yourself as a business owner, and you do some acting, but it's not the same way. Like, am I wrong in saying that like they're very different types of public eye that you're in now?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the reality TV thing, I remember thinking at one point when I was in a room with all the cast.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, that everyone in here is like an insane attention seeker.
Yeah.
And why am I here?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, like saying, oh, okay, maybe, oh, all right. So maybe that is definitely part of my personality. And that mirror that I was telling you about, it's uncomfortable, but maybe that's part of it. The reason, to just make that short, is because your attention is seeking attention.
Yeah.
I think there's lots of reasons why people are seeking attention.
For sure.
I think in your case, it would be quite intentionally to leverage.
Yeah.
But I think more often than not, it is people are insecure and they have low self-esteem, and being on reality TV is a quick injection. It's a pill that you can take that gives you something. And
that
I think
makes sense.
And again, not nice to say,
but
that's part of my journey. Yeah, it's part of my journey. It's like I think it comes down to like, if you get the opportunity, you just feel foolish not to take it. So in both cases, it was like, do you want to travel around the world with your sister and do challenges? Fuck yes, I want to do that. Absolutely. And in this one, it was, do you want to meet the love of your life potentially? Yeah, okay, sure. Why not? Like, I'll do it. But there's a reason why I've done 2, and why lots of people who are in reality TV just keep getting recycled is because I think, first of all, New Zealand culture isn't actually very good for reality TV. No. We're annoyingly bad TV, like humble and self-deprecating and suspicious. Very suspicious.
Very suspicious.
And so, whereas like in America, you could walk down the street and people wouldn't even, they'd just see the microphone and want to give you their opinion. Let me tell you what I think about blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no one fucking asked you, man. But that's
100%.
So there's a cultural thing. It's like reality TV in New Zealand's not good. And when they do find a talent who can communicate and articulate themselves and will embarrass themselves without thinking about the cameras too much, like they'll have a long career, you know. They'll keep on. But your question is, so like, how does that form? How does that form the rest of the thing? So when the pandemic hit, as everyone's sort of watching the show, I'm feeling really exposed, like I said, really defensive through the process. I came out really good, by the way. So there was this like, who is insane in this situation? And it's like, oh, it's definitely the other person. And so then I was very much vindicated, which was like, thank God, really sort of came to light in that last dinner party. But I still came out quite good, but at that time the world was changing a lot around me and for me. So the unforeseen things, so losing my job, there was a whole crazy thing that happened at my job, and I got paid out to leave quietly. But that was tricky, so whatever. And so now I'm unemployed. The world starts collapsing on itself. The lease on my flat had just happened to come to an end, and I was kind of on the back foot about that because of the show and whatnot. And then you can't look for a flat when the world's in lockdown. You can't go to a house, and so that just stopped. And so I was homeless for so I slept in my car for like 3 days
during the lockdown period.
And then ended up moving in with some family, and just out of, I had nowhere else to go, and that was, so now it's getting really dark. As well as like, I lived with some of my best friends at the time, and so I'm just losing contacts and support, and then my godmother died, and now grief was on top of that, and I was like,
that's a lot.
It was just too much in a good few weeks. Like just
individually, or maybe together. Nightmare.
And I've always considered myself like the most resilient person, and so like, I've traveled the world, and I moved overseas when I was 17, and that was who I was. I can handle anything. But now I'm actually like genuinely really finding out what I'm made out of, and realizing that I'm collapsing, I'm falling apart. So I went and got some help. I'm worried about my mental health. Things aren't going very well. And they said to me, we think you might have ADHD. And I was like, yep, that tracks actually, if you look back at it. Wow, okay, so this is now, and we're definitely going through this like neurodivergent awakening in society at the moment. Which is, I think, is quite cool. But
likewise.
So I'm realizing that, and then so you've got ADHD. Take this medication. It's going to make you feel calm and focused. I'm like, okay, cool. But they really didn't ask enough questions about what's going on in my life. I kept telling them I was really stressed, but I never used the word anxious because I'd never experienced anxiety. So, I'm really stressed. But take this Ritalin. It's going to sort you out. Did not fucking sort me out at all. It had the opposite effect. It was like, I remember after like a week of taking Ritalin, I realized like I was at the gym for 6.5 hours, and it felt like a rave. And I'm just like, my body's got my tempo, and like, and it was really intense, like, and I was feeling really intense. It was quite euphoric. And so then I said to my dog, I don't think this is having the effect it should be having. You said calm and focus, and I'm really being like, I'm kind of pissing people off and being super intense.
That's crazy.
And they said, just stop taking it. So I stopped taking it.
Yeah.
And then that was a big mistake, big mistake, because the next day I had the crash of all crashes. So if you didn't know, Ritalin's an amphetamine. It's basically speed.
Yeah.
But in a neurodivergent brain, it helps you jump connections to keep you calm.
Yeah.
But when you're super anxious and when you're really stressed, it was sort of it was having the speed effect for me. So I'm just like on meth, just casually, I'm just like on meth day to day, going to the gym. It was great for a week. But the crash was the thing that's really changed my life, and I've never been the same since.
Really interesting.
So I can't remember a lot what happened that day, but I went missing. I remember just walking up and down some stairs crying because I didn't know where I was or who I was. I didn't know the name of nouns and things,
wow.
So I'd lost my mind. It had just melted out of my fucking ears, and it was for me, that was like, in therapy we talk just the big scary thing was it was just doom. An all-powerful, like, really scary moment. So, it was terrifying.
Just for a day or for how long did that last?
Yeah, so I started. No, well, you could argue it never ended. But
this is a glass.
This is glass.
Oh shit, that's mental. I've never heard. I've heard people like have really tough times in Ritalin. Like, I've got a couple of mates who are around the same time got diagnosed with ADHD too, and some was amazing for, and others was like same thing, like with stress from business, like it didn't work, and they stopped it. But Melon's, his brain melted.
Yeah,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, so it lasted that day, and I started like sorting myself out, and that was the day I started feeling pain in my body. So it started I just had sore ankles. That was weird. So anyway, but that happened, and I mean, things have changed very quickly since then. But that was so shortly after I get diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, all sorts of chronic pain disorders. Yeah, so the crash really flicked something in my central nervous system. Anxiety's been a daily thing for me ever since. I was really depressed after that, and just really, really bad. And it was really gnarly. It was really bad. Really bad. But I don't know, I've got a whole new take on life and suffering, and it really has been the reason that I've had to work so much harder than I've ever had to work as like a good-looking white guy in the world, just sort of moving through it pretty easily to like, all right, now you have like chronic like a chronic pain disorder and like mental health issues, and so now I have to really take care of my body, really watch what I eat, really so it's really stepped things up in a really interesting way. And not long after that, then I met my now husband, who it completely changed my life. The big thing I did was I started my own business. So because I felt that I wasn't capable of doing the job that I had. So I used to work in marketing, advertising, was, copywriter. That was my background. And then I wasn't confident showing up to work for someone. So I was like, right, I can't work on someone else's schedule because I'd let them down. And I couldn't live with that. So my big mental leap was thinking I would always work for somebody because that's what everyone does. Then going, I'm going to have to run my own business and I'm going to have to be my own boss. Oh, I can do that. Right. So now I'm starting to, like, as a creative person, I'm starting to think of ideas. I'm looking for niches in the world that exist, that aren't being capitalized on, or that I could do with no overheads, or, with, start from scratch. And so, and that was when I was younger, I used to work at a vet clinic and I ran all the puppy play schools. So I got some really good training around training dogs, and I'd always been around dogs, and training friends and family's dogs and that sort of thing. And so then, bing, light bulb moment where my cousin's dog, Leo, got kicked out of a dog walking group. And Jono, you're unemployed. Could you help me? I was like, yeah, I can help. And then looked into this whole dog racket and saw an opportunity. And that was that's the big thing. Having a passion, something to move forward, something to hold on to, something that is much more authentically me than any of the bullshit I'd ever done. Everything felt fake from that point on, because I was like, yeah, I should own a small business that's quirky and fun, that I can market myself and work my own hours. I'm exercising, I'm out in the sunlight, my mental health's improving.
That's amazing.
I love my customers, I love my dogs. Like, and then everything has just improved since then. And
that's great.
Yeah, to the point where like Josh and I just hitting every single straight person milestone that you could want, and more, and our future is like really exciting.
I love that. One of the best things you just said then was how, was it your cousin's dog?
Yep.
Your cousin's dog got kicked out of a walking group is the funniest sentence someone could say. And like, if you had said that 15 years ago, people were like, what the fuck?
In an industry that didn't exist 15 years ago. But here we are.
Which I love, is because that highlights how great of a niche you've found. Like, it is definitely a massive growing industry that's just going absolute bananas. Anything pet related. Like, we've got a client who's launching a pet food company to China, and like, they just did a tour around China, and the opportunity is like, they're talking in like tens and hundreds of billions because of just how big of a market it is. Like, as their population has grown in wealth, they're also wanting more and more pet stuff and whatever. So it's just, I mean, yours is not necessarily a product, but like, it's the same industry that is just growing. And like, my brother just bought a dog recently, and they would be spending like, I don't know, $1,000 a week easy on it.
Okay, I want to be that dog. I want to meet this dog.
It's bananas.
Wow.
I mean,
cool.
they're they're not poor. Like,
can I guess what sort of breed it is?
You can have a try.
Frenchie?
Nah.
Dang. Dachshund?
Nah, it's a big boy.
Oh, dang.
It's a Staffy.
Dang. It's always the Frenchies that are posh and expensive.
They're spending lots of money on it. One, at the moment, they got like training that they're doing. I don't know if it's Cat Week. There's a lot. And actually, most of my knowledge of how much has been come from Mum, and Mum probably exaggerates a lot of stuff. But they're going and got like a really good trainer for it, and they're spending lots of money on toys, and it's a Staffy, so it's just like ripped everything to pieces.
Cool.
Everywhere.
I'm gonna leave my card.
Yeah, definitely, you should. But they're just like a typical family now. Yeah. With dogs, like you never leave your dog at home anymore. Like, it always goes to a kennel, or it goes like, like when we were young, our dogs would just get left at home.
Chained up in the backyard,
100%.
Yeah, they'll survive.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
The neighbors will come over and throw some food over later on. And so it's a crazy industry that you've gone into. But also, what's interesting to hear about that is actually, it doesn't sound like the personality is any different to the person who took on maths. It's like an opportunity was presented.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck it, I can do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, it just took the right opportunity that was actually aligned with you.
Yeah.
Which then makes me think, because then you're probably a lot more like me. Like, that's actually like how I am too. Like, I'll see stuff and like, I can fucking do this.
Yeah.
You
did. You used to work in hospital, right?
Yeah, I used to work in hospital, and I was like,
this is the pivot of all pivots.
I know. Yeah. Someone's like, can you help me build my personal brand? I'm like, yeah, 100% I
got you.
Yeah, I got you. And so I guess like for me, it's like wondering what's that next opportunity too. Because like, this business is like obviously growing, you're smashing, it's doing all things, but like, if you are anything like me, you'll eventually have it to a point where you're like, okay, what's next?
Yes.
Does your brain do that?
Yeah. And we're doing that. Sort of like those wheels are definitely turning right now. And
what can you share? Like, obviously you might have stuff you might not want to share, but like, just like, where's the head going? Like,
what can I share? So the first thing is I've just started another business called Click.
Oh, okay.
And it's a dog training specific. So just through creating a dog community, I had a lot of people sort of reaching out to me. Hey, can you help me?
Yeah,
I've got this problem. My dog will pull me down the street, or my dog keeps jumping on people. My dog keeps barking at the mailman, or whatever. Can you help me? And so then, there's a service, another service that I'll provide here for the dog walking, beyond the dog walking thing.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And then I found that I was really good at that. Yeah. And then I started getting my own point of view. I started doing more training online. Yeah. And I think, like, to your point, like, we live in a time where you could decide to start a whole different business, and everything you need in the world is out there to make you do that. Yeah. So and I think that people don't understand that. Like, there's a real, it's almost like the world wants you to just sort of have a 9 to 5 and just like stay in your lane. But like, for me, I was kind of forced out of my thinking.
Yeah.
And, I got like, it was it was like a survival thing for me. It's like, so you have to pivot real fucking hard and quick. But I think most people, there's all these barriers but I'm like, the limits are inside you.
Yeah.
Like the mountain to conquer is just mental, it's just inside you. Because the world is full of things that will help you succeed. If you don't know something, you can ask somebody.
Yes.
And other people are running their own business, providing a service to help you run your business, that will fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
If you're doing one thing every day just to move your business forward, our motto was always crawl, walk, run. And so, and I think when you're dealing with live creatures that are family members to people, and safety is a really important thing. It's important to like learn slowly, so you don't make a big mistake. So I think crawl, walk, run is really important there.
Yeah, for sure.
If you can do that really quickly and be running in a matter of weeks, if you're running a business, and sky's the fucking limit.
Yeah.
So,
I always talk about that as like, well, I don't always talk about it. Like early on in my business, I talked about like, I just made up a number, called it the 3,000 rule. And I was talking about how like there might be, say, 3,000 things you have to do to get your business to this point. And you can either take a few weeks to do it, or you can take a few years.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't actually matter. They're just actions you have to take.
Yes.
And like, you got to do a certain amount of actions before you can start to walk, and a certain more before you can run.
Yep.
And so depending on how hard and fast you want to walk, or how much, for me, it was like less about me working really hard and more about who could help me do it.
Yes.
What you're saying, there's all these other businesses you can plug in. So I was just like, who, not how. Like, who can I get to help me do these 3,000 actions? Which is one of the reasons why my team grew so fast. Because I was like, I really don't want to do any of this stuff. Like, I want you guys to do it. I just want to turn up, do a podcast, do it, say it's cool, drink some coffee, and then go home.
Yeah.
And so, like, who's the people I can put around me to help me do all these other actions I have to do to get to the running?
I'm not sure you're giving yourself enough credit there, because I was thinking about this on the drive here.
Yeah.
When you almost feel like you're cheating sometimes, when you found the thing that you're really good at, it should feel easy.
Yeah, for sure.
It should really feel easy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're saying that like, I just come in and just chat and then leave.
Yeah.
But
oh no, I didn't mean that.
But other people can't do that.
No.
They don't find that easy. So like, I think when you find the thing that you're good at, like, and for me, it was customer service. It was dogs. It was like everything in my life. I used to work in outdoor education. There's a huge like safety background to that, which is super important for what we're doing. A professionalism aspect of working as a suit in advertising.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to pull that in, and communication skills and I find it easy.
Yeah.
But it's because I've got a lot of years of like experience that it makes it feel easy,
100%. And when I say it, like, I don't mean it like as in, oh, these are just the little things I do. When I say justice, like, I just get to do that because that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. And like, even like from an admin perspective, last year I hired an EA, which was the best thing I ever did, because like, I hate doing administration. Like, I don't have a mobile phone people can contact me on, except for my wife and my mum. Shai's got it. She's got my mobile and my number. My emails I never have to open because she does it all. Like, even like my LinkedIn DMs where people message me and stuff, like, just, I don't want to deal with all of that. So
You've rigged it.
Have other people do it.
Yeah, this is great.
And I think like, you're on the same page. It's like, do what, like, there's some things you can't outsource straight away or get other people in, because funds, it costs money to do all this stuff.
Yep.
But like, as quickly as possible, the faster you can get other people to do it, the more those actions you can do, so you can start running faster.
Yeah.
But where
you're buying time.
Yeah. Which is interesting to hear from you, because like, a lot of the times when we have these conversations, we have two types of people come into these interviews. They're like young creators who are trying to be creators, and then people who are trying to grow a business. And I much prefer talking to the business people because there's more I can relate to. Doesn't mean I don't like talking to the young guys. It's just like, I can't relate as much to them. So typically it's like, that's really where the name Stands Planning comes from. It's like me like tell them how to like move out of that world. But you hear people who are in business understand that. And the guys who are doing well are never bogged down doing it all themselves.
No.
Because if they are, they're not really in business.
Yeah.
They just bought themselves a job.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, okay, tell me then, like, that you went through a whole bunch of crap that was real hard, and I don't even want to try and figure out how hard that life would have been. But then you transitioned to a business, which is really fucking hard. Like, because business is hard. Even if it's going good, it's still hard. Like,
yeah.
How did you Like, how did the business part of your brain turn on? Because that's not normal.
I married well.
Okay, so it was your partner.
Yeah, into Josh.
Okay,
So when I met Josh, he had just gotten his master's in business. And
match made in heaven.
Yeah, so he
perfect.
Yeah, so he's a change manager. He's also a councilman. Like he's busy, he's doing these things, but it's very sort of like on this computer doing things. But he had a dream of I really want to like run my own business, like a small business, and get something really going, because he's got all of the chops to make that happen. And I think that he was hoping to meet someone creative.
Yeah.
I think he was looking for someone creative who had a good idea or had a good business that had the legs to grow further. And that he's like, and then I could add my special whatever to that. And that's exactly what happened. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, saw me coming.
Yeah.
I'm okay, but the business is great. Yeah. So yeah, I think he saw when he saw me, he met me the opportunity. I was fully stacked on my own. Yeah. So I just gotten to the point where I'm having to turn down customers, and manage the growth of my business. But now I'm fully busy. Yeah. I'm exhausted every day. Like been walking up and down hills all day, and so what's the next step? And then so he comes in, and he I remember he sat me down. He had spreadsheets on spreadsheets. He had mapped it all out behind my back, and was like, I want to talk to you. This can be something else. Yep. And he was saying things that I thought of. So really cool ideas about expanding it, but I just didn't know how to execute. I don't know where to start, and I hate talking about numbers. I was doing all my own invoicing and all that sort of thing. And he's like, I could do this. So I can take that off your plate. Yeah. And when we met as well, he had just bought a house, and we were renovating it together. As like a fun project, but I always thought of it as his house. But I gave him half my business, and he gave me half his house. Oh, cool. And so now we're fully intertwined at that point.
So you're fully intertwined, but you hadn't yet married.
No. We moved quickly. Yeah, we got married a few weeks ago. So
Oh, it's only a few weeks ago. Yeah. Oh, congrats! I didn't know that.
No, it's all good. Thank you. So we're doing this yin yang thing, like we're complementing each other, and I think that is a big learning for me, was just like, right, I'm not good at this, I don't want to do it. And we talk about being captains for each other, and this is in our personal lives as well. So we're trying to have a baby as well via IVF and surrogacy. And then I was planning the wedding, so me, event planner, details orientated, creative person. I was the captain of the wedding. He's the captain of the adoption and the IVF and the planning of that and the project management.
I love that.
So we talk about what are you the captain of? What are you captaining this week? That's some of our lingo. But I love it. That naturally happened when we met. And I think why our relationship felt so correct was like we support each other without a lot of communication. Like, there's not enough. We don't need to say it too much, but you're good at that. Let's double down on that. You're good at that. Let's double down on that. I like that. And that very much happened with Pooped. Yeah. So
that's great. That's exactly my wife and I are the same. Yeah. Like
it's how it should be, right?
It's how it should be. Like, we realize that like you don't need two of us to make this decision. Like, you just don't need it. And fuck, I love this drilling that's
that's wild, man.
I really hope AI's got a job on its hand to pull this out of the background. Maybe just fuck, it's gonna keep going. No, but like we definitely say the same thing. Like in the business, like we both own the business 50-50, but she's like, you're the CEO. Like you make the decisions. Let's discuss them, but at the end of the day, I trust you. Cool.
And she can clean the stairs.
But the whole fit out, right? Like she'll come to me and she'll be like, what do you think of the colors? And I'll say my
wait, she's literally cleaning the stairs, just for the record. Yeah, it's not a sexist joke. Yeah, no, I don't want to be cancelled
cleaning
for that. She literally a mop and
then
bucket.
She'll be in the bathrooms cleaning the toilets, and she'll be painting and doing everything. But like she'll come to me like, oh, pick a color for like these are colors, and I'm like, oh, like that. And she's like, oh, I don't like that. And I was like, well, don't ask me, because like actually, like in your words, she's the captain of that. Yeah. So yeah, what I was saying is my wife and I, we're the same. We have the same sort of mentality. Someone has to be the captain in your terminology. And like, if you try to cross over, it just causes fights because like you're now trying to like the person whose job it is to do it is saying, no, this is what I think. And the other person's got their own opinion, but they shouldn't be sharing it they can share it. They shouldn't be forcing it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, we all agree I'm better at you than this.
Yeah.
So you got to trust me.
But there's a little ego. You have to sort of like you have to pull your ego back and go, "Oh, I'm not the captain of this."
Exactly.
And there's there's a strong element of trust, and it's not easy to do that.
Yeah, they have to be. They have to have proven themselves as well at some point. Like you can't just like fully trust people sometimes to do it. Josh's introduction to this relationship is awesome to hear because I was thinking, how the fuck did this guy also start a business through that time? Because business isn't easy, but it seems like it's that whole who not how. Like you've had the right person, you got the right partner, and I think that a lot of creators out there at the moment and influencers and people who've got some attention, that's what they're really good at.
Yeah.
And then when I talk to them, they really struggle at like, I don't know what to do next. It's like, because you don't have the entrepreneurial mindset or the business mindset, maybe is probably the better way to say it, of like to partner with it. And so for you, was it easy to let go to Josh?
Yeah.
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 Okay,
Easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
No,
Cool.
it was
good to hear.
Yeah. It was literally like, oh, I hate this
Yeah.
part of things.
Yeah.
And he's like, I love that
That's
part
good.
of things. And you should see it. Like we've got all of our stats, everything's measured, how many walks and how, our growth on this year and everything is managed in the way that someone with a business major
would do it.
Yeah. And for me, that's just like, I'm just like hot under the collar. I'm, ooh, this is, give me more of that. Yeah, this is great.
I love that.
Because it really does just free me up to do the things that I'm really good at. Yeah. And my business's biggest strengths. So we love our customers. We've created a community. We have community days where we'll get together and have a picnic. The dogs get certificates for being a good boy or a good girl. And,
love it.
And that's building brand love, like a real love mark for my company, which has actually got us through some tough times. The times where every other dog walker is shutting down and losing money, we're making money and we've grown every single year. So in spite of the cost of living crisis, the relationship, the marketing, the website I do myself, the like every sort of marketing channel that we have is like that's done by me because I like to do that stuff. And I have the time and the bandwidth to execute those things. So having employees, that's a big step.
Yep.
So that's a weird sort of moment. Now
other people's livelihoods are in your hands.
And we take that super seriously. We are so proud to pay our employees extremely well. They're getting paid better than teachers, to walk dogs during the day. And we've got such a cool team at the moment, and that's
how big is it?
Proud of that too. We've got a team of 4.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we've got a team of 4. But so to answer your question that I totally dodged earlier, we are starting another territory. So we're finally starting to expand.
Cool.
And I can see that going national and in a really cool way. So we've got some really cool plans that I can't talk about.
No, love it.
There, as well as starting a whole nother business called the dog training business.
The dog training business
is that's something I'm really passionate about. And I realized that when you have skill and expertise, and now I have credibility as the owner of a dog business and lots of experience helping families and people, and we call it training dogs, coaching humans.
Cool.
So because and I was like, that's our point of difference, and I don't see anyone else doing that.
Right, no one is.
It's literally about I can't fix your dog with a silver bullet, and the dogs are so contextual. I could take them away and they'll be good for me, and I could teach them to juggle, and and that would be great. But they won't do it for you. No. So, but it's about empowering and supporting the humans to make great positive changes in their life. And I'm seeing there's so much opportunity for great content, for being like a leader in this field in New Zealand, and being a personality, and
I love it
in that sense. I'm really excited about that. Is now where we're going now that we've got this really cool base.
I love that. I love seeing how you've transitioned to a business. I think it's fucking cool, and so cool that like I want to do. We need to do a part 2. and just deep dive into business.
Can you bring these guys or
I'll
the
bring
drills
these guys.
and shit?
If we don't bring them, it'll be fucking shit.
Really been a vibe.
We need them. And that's why I want to do a second one, because I think we should like maybe sometime into the future to hear more about business. It might even be cool to have your husband on if he's keen. I don't know.
Oh man, it would love that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool to have the two of you and talk about business more, because obviously we've been distracted by our fucking friends on the roof today. And I don't think either of us can concentrate on business right now when we're having this discussion. So I'm going to wrap it up. Connor's also telling me off because he's going to run out of battery. But honestly, like, that was really cool to hear your story, because I didn't know the first bit, but I understand, and I fucking love your transition that you've had. It reminds me a lot of my story. I've been homeless myself for 6 weeks. Mine was out of a car.
Damn.
And I've done all the same struggles you've gone through. And so seeing where you are with your husband in tow, like, that's me and my wife. Like, when you got two people who are real passionate together and can do stuff, like, I can only see you guys fucking kicking goals. So it's fucking cool to see.
I'm really touched. That's really great.
It's awesome.
I keep pinching myself at where I was to where I am. But
awesome.
Then if you actually think about it, it makes sense as well. Like I was so uncomfortable. That's putting it mildly. I was so uncomfortable for such a long period of time. I would say I was really suffering. But that, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be having a baby, getting married and running a business that I love, and genuinely really finding like a lot of happiness in the world. You know, like, so
that's awesome.
I don't regret the terrible.
It's what brought you here to today.
100%.
Without it, you wouldn't have been. I was the same. My drinking and everything that was bad in my past has brought me to today. So I love it.
No, I'd love a part two, because I want to ask you some questions. I didn't get to ask you questions.
No, let's do that.
I do have one question.
Please.
So, you know, like, I'm a huge fan of podcasts. Yeah. Like, I love podcasts.
Yeah.
And they always have like, their fans have like a special name. So I was wondering if the Stan-splaining fans, do you have a name for that group of people? Because I've brainstormed some ideas.
Okay, I want to hear them.
I'll throw you some ideas.
Okay, please. They don't so far.
Sorry.
They don't.
Okay, great. I'm excited. Okay, good, because there's an opportunity.
Okay.
So like, for example, do you listen to Armchair Expert?
I have seen it before.
Dick Shepherd. So I love Armchair Expert. I'm a big cherry. We call ourselves cherries when you're the fan of Armchair Expert. So we're cherries. It's always a cute little quip.
Yeah, I like it. Right.
So I was thinking, three of them, my favorite's the last. Stanions.
Stanions?
So like Stan Minions.
Yeah, I like that.
What was I going to say? Splaniacs? Splaniacs?
That's a good one.
Do you like that?
That's a good one.
But this is the best one, because like, think about it, like being a stan as a fan is like, it's like built in. So I was thinking it's just stannies.
Just stannies.
Stannies? Yeah. Like, just stannies.
I'm a stanny. I like it.
That's good, right?
I think that was a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Well, you can
because it can also evolve to like the personal brand too.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Hey, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure,
Let's do it. Part 2 booked in.
Yes, sir.
Cheers.